I had a buddy tell me it's not really a Marine reacts unless they got a little pension of that good old dip. I'm gonna put a thick one in there. Shut up. Alright, West Coast Marine reacts to East Coast Boot Camp. Let's see how they differ. Oh. He still got the yelling on it. You see his veins right here. East or West Coast, you're never going to be loud enough.
This is Marine Corps Boot Camp in Parris Island, South Carolina.
You gotta like that voice too. They look like a bunch of aliens, dude. That's exactly how we look too, though.
All recruits have to graduate from the Marine Corps' 13-week basic training program, which tests them physically and psychologically.
No one feels sorry for you.
It's a pressure cooker for 12 weeks. Under the pressure of an intimidating drill instructor, someone that's putting you under the scrutiny of attention to detail every single day, and to a certain degree, every single day we're going to be good at.
Yo. This type of hair right here is NJP hair.
Everything at boot camp sucks. It's gonna hurt, it's gonna be painful, but it's only gonna hurt more if you look at it that way.
That's a bullshit lie. Unless for those who are really motivated, but that usually goes away pretty soon. It's honestly just tedious. Because you're having to rush through everything and you're getting yelled at the same time.
It's boot camp, and it's supposed to prepare you for the challenges that lie beyond.
That's kind of weird. We had RCOs in our rifles.
We saw different companies at various stages of training.
You will not run, you will walk. Get on the yellow footprints right now. You will do what you told to do, when you told to do it, and without question. Do you understand? Yes, sir.
On day one of boot camp, new recruits arrive at the receiving barracks, where they take their first steps toward becoming Marines by walking through these silver hatches, symbolizing the threshold between the outside world and Parris Island.
Real quick, the thing I didn't know about it, since I was from MCRD, was that we're close, we're like right by the airport, and we're right by like a city. I know that Parris Island is like more secluded in that area. And it's also why like back in the day, certain shit would go down.
You will walk through these silver hatches once and never again. You understand? Yes, sir.
Once inside, recruits are processed and assigned to their platoons.
Yes, ma'am! I know you were told us to come with your head down! Put up in a button, button. I'm ma'am! I'm ma'am!
Not I, ma'am. I, ma'am.
Marines commit.
I got called out for saying I, sir, back in the day. You had to say it twice.
Upon entering the Corps, an entry-level private will earn around $20,000 a year.
It's not that much.
Recruits are required to make a phone call to a family member or their recruiter to let them know they've arrived.
Quick story. You get 3 chances to do this, to get someone to pick up. 3 times, neither of my parents answered. I'm assuming they were at work. But I had my recruiter's card, and I just wanted to get out of there because it was only me and someone else at the time because we got there late because 2 people got kicked back, right? We had to read off a script that's inside that little box. And so I decided to call my recruiter on the 4th try. I got 4 tries. And when I called him, I'm reading the script, and I didn't know in the last line it says, "I love you, goodbye." So when I got out, my recruiter was laughing at me. The DIs were laughing at me. Honestly, just pretend someone answered and just say the lines, and that's it.
They're only allowed to read the script printed for them inside the phone bank.
See, this right here, it did not say support on ours. It says, "I love you, goodbye for now."
I will contact you in 7 to 9 days by letter with my new address. Thank you for your support. Goodbye for now.
Recruits are given 3 chances to get someone on the line.
Yep, 3. I got 4.
Not every recruit is
Just pretend someone answers, dude, and just start reading it.
Depot in Parris Island sits on 8,000 acres of the South Carolina Low Country. It's one of 2 enlisted recruit depots in the United States. The other is in San Diego, where only male recruits
Represent.
are trained.
Those mouth guards that they got right there never did shit. We never molded them. And if we got hit or something in our mouth, that shit probably wasn't gonna help.
Today, females comprise under 25% of recruits at Parris Island, and approximately 8% of the United States Marine Corps. The lowest
I thought that number was higher.
of any United States military branch.
Some nice sleeves.
A recruit's day
Fucking glow boats.
before the sun comes up. Their typical wake-up call is
This guy right here ain't doing them. And for the record, I don't know how they did it on the East Coast, but we did not start off the mornings with PT. I think we did once. And we did wake up before the sun. I don't remember quite what time, but we would wake up, make our racks, hygiene, go outside, get ready for chow. We hardly ever PT'd in the morning.
0400 or 4 a.m.
I'm positive we didn't wake up at 04. Maybe more like 05.
Recruits endure an intense series of
Although that could just be for the camera.
4-3. Am I hearing that right? 4-3. Yes, sir. Fail.
some recruits arrive in
Jesus Christ, look at this dude.
better shape than others.
This dude looks older too.
More than sitting on the couch.
Some dudes are fresh out of high school, very skinny.
May have been collegiate athletes. So there's a vast spread of what their athletic fitness and ability is.
Much of their training happens here, in Leatherneck Square, where a series of intimidating obstacles comprise the
I hated this one, just because I hated heights. These obstacles are pretty fun though, for the majority.
No, I'm tired of watching you freaking fail. You failed this event. Nope, just grab your canteen and you failed this event.
Man, this is one more try, sir.
What did I just say?
Aye, sir. What did I just say?
Training program is progressive in nature. It starts out in a crawl, walk, run approach throughout training. 99.9% of those that get here can complete all those requirements at the end of training, regardless of how they started.
Please help. I don't want to do this. I don't. No, I'm not. Please.
I hated doing the rappel tower, obviously with the heights again. But unlike him, I didn't have to go down the side. I ended up going down the hell hole, which is just going straight down without the wall. And that shit had me spinning around in circles. And those gloves he's carrying right now, he's got another pair underneath to keep from burning his hands. Those shit did not help. We didn't have these gloves. We had like the little black ones. And that shit will still burn your hands. I feel for him though. Because, shit, I didn't want to go down this shit.
Gets the chance to conquer that fear, courtesy of this 47-foot tall tower. Recruits must rappel down using 2 different methods.
For me, the rappel tower was hard because I sort of had a fear of heights.
Grab below my right hand with your right hand.
You have to trust the rope. So there's nothing to be worried about. You'll be safe all the time.
As soon as you go down, you're pretty much good.
I don't want to go down.
Recruits with a phobia of heights have little choice but to face their fear.
Fucking gas chamber, bro.
One of the most dreaded parts of training is the gas chamber.
I hate this shit. Burn. You feel the burn all over you. You also feel it internally in your chest and your throat.
CS gas, commonly known as tear gas.
Oh, that shit sucks, man. And then they make you take off the mask inside.
Once the recruits enter the chamber, they break the seals of their gas masks.
You go in, you feel it, instantly hit your skin. You just feel burning.
Say something to me now.
Asshole. Also, if you run out of there before they let you out, you're gonna have to do it again from the start.
Recruits are free,
We had one dude do that, and this dude barrel rolled out of the fucking door.
but the pain endures.
You usually have more snot though, a lot more sweat and snot. That's how it looks like.
Thank God for fresh air. It's really nice.
And that shit will reactivate if you take a shower
It's a burning sensation.
and you try to take a piss. That thing's gonna start burning your dick.
Super important because it builds confidence. Confidence in the gear, confidence in the drill starters,
See, we didn't walk in with them on. We had to put them on inside,
Recruits are
and that shit
trained in
sucked.
different styles of hand-to-hand combat.
First thing we want to see is that
PO6 is fun. Let some of the aggression out.
A key aspect of their martial arts training is
Sometimes they might even put you against two.
the bugle stick techniques are intended to mirror those used in combat while using a bayonet.
Typically, people don't really even use the butt stroke or the bayonet side. They usually just kind of like a football player. They'll push you.
So that red side is supposed to emulate the actual knife portion of the actual bayonet mounted on the weapon. So anything that you strike with that red tip, 9 times out of 10 are either going to be incapacitated or laid to rest. Honestly, it gives them an opportunity to blow off a little steam.
Huh. Typically, when we got knocked off the platform, they usually called it right there.
They're out there
I'm pretty sure drill instructors have bets on this too.
learn how to combat the enemy.
Recruits also practice with actual bayonets.
We never used them outside of boot camp. A little body boxing.
And other types of hand-to-hand combat. Although male and female recruits do
It's weird to see like a lot of green,
are separated,
a lot of green grass,
and although the
and no sand.
has experimented with integration before, the Marine Corps is the only military branch that separates male and female recruits during basic training. According to the Corps, every Marine is first and foremost a rifleman.
Now, I know that's the general consensus, but if you're in a 0311 or any type of 03 MOS, staff sergeants are going to tell you a lot different. And that's just because people who are 03s get a lot more training, and obviously they're going to be most likely better than people who aren't in that MOS. So there's a lot of shit that gets talked around. And real quick, with this RCO, you see how it's more to the back? Typically you see like in little other videos, or like when people draw them, or sometimes in the movies, they have it up here. But typically they are back here, and from your eye to the actual RCO, I believe it was about 2.4 inches. And it also depends on the person. So you might have to readjust where the RCO sits. This little rope right here is going to be your dummy cord, where in case for some, like these little latches right here, if they come undone, which sometimes they do, because we always got like the shittier gear. If the RCO falls off, it's still hanging on here, so you're not going to lose it, because that shit's expensive. And you will have to pay for it.
Recruits spend the bulk of 2 weeks devoted to marksmanship. The first of which sees few shots actually fired.
First off is the fundamentals. They have to understand how to aim.
It's more or less just trying to get your aim down.
Exactly how to breathe when they're taking that shot. They have to understand exactly how to squeeze the trigger and how to have follow-through and recovery with a rifle.
Combat operations is the foundation for every single Marine, regardless of what your occupation is.
We usually shot with both pairs of gloves.
Be able to put lead on target.
The Marine Corps is defined as an amphibious warfare force. Therefore, swimming plays
I'm pretty sure they did it here too, but they pass everybody, regardless. That's bullshit.
During swim week, recruits go through numerous exercises in the pool while wearing their camouflage uniforms.
That shit gets real heavy.
But training at Paris Island isn't all physical. Recruits also spend long hours in the classroom.
Dude, it's so hard to sleep in, not to sleep in there.
Downtime can end at any moment. When a drill instructor decides to
You see the people in the middle there aren't even doing them right.
Paris Island, it's what's known as getting slayed.
It's an experience. You realize the thing you've done to get in a sand pit, and then you realize, okay, that hurt, so
Let's not do that again.
That's a lie. It's not because you always fuck up, although that is a reason. If you're not out there, you're probably on the quarterdeck inside the squad bay, but it's also going to depend on how the DI is feeling. And if he doesn't see you up there very often, he's going to put you up there. Or if he barely recognizes you in the platoon and hasn't seen you, he's going to put you up there. It's just going to depend on the DI.
Physically it hurts, but me personally, I never worried about the pain I was feeling in my body. It was more thinking about the mistake I made and how I need to correct it the next time.
Again, same thing. I feel like a lot of these responses are mainly for camera-based answers.
So there's going to be some chaos because when they come here, we want to tear them down a little bit, and then we want to bring them back up into the mold of what it is to be a United States Marine.
Crucible. Now, the one thing I do know, the difference is that we have the Reaper on the West Coast, which is like a bunch of big-ass hills that we got to go up, which I always thought it was just one, but it's multiple. And it's a steady incline going up all the way. And from what I've heard, is that the East Coast is mainly flat ground. But, you know, it's hot over there, it's muggy, very, very humid. That's why you see all that water, the mud.
Group training culminates in an event known as the Crucible. Over the course of 54 hours, with minimal sleep and food, recruits must endure realistic combat scenarios. The sounds of gunfire and shelling are played over loudspeakers mounted in the training area.
I don't know if they mentioned it, but we got 3 MREs for like the 2.5 days.
Recruits are forced to
And about 4 hours of sleep a night, which wasn't too bad.
overcome obstacles.
We also slept indoors. We weren't allowed to sleep outside. I don't know if they're going to show it, see how these guys did it.
This is what we saw on the second day. Recruits have become exhausted and irritable.
Bro, people start getting pissed.
Jumping! I sir! You're just falling down! I sir!
You know, you go through a really rough time. You start thinking, man, like, it's hot, I'm thirsty, my arms haven't felt this bad in my whole life.
We're halfway there, come on.
You just keep looking at the person to the left and right, and you're like, well, he's doing it, I gotta keep going.
Nope, I just didn't want to get yelled at and get called a bitch.
So there's no reason not to push.
Once the Crucible is complete, these recruits officially become Marines.
I felt like they could have showed a little bit more of the Crucible. Just to show kind of what... It's not as bad as they make it out to be, but... They also didn't show any of the night training that we did. We also did some night land nav. They didn't really show the land nav there. We had a fuckload of hills that we had to go through. As far as I know, they just had to deal with swamps, flat ground for the most part. And usually... with the night training, there's also a course that you have to pass. And when they shoot a loom in the air, you have to hit the deck, stay there until it goes out, then you start moving. I didn't see, at one point, there was a fuckload of wire. And I ate shit so hard that I fell right on top of the whole thing. And I was getting up, and you could feel like the little barbed wire sticking to you. And you're just getting up. And then when I eventually went down underneath and got out of there, I ended up not knowing where to go because I can't see shit. So I had to look at the guy who was right next to me. I started following him. Yeah, it was a good time though.
The day before
Funny.
graduation, friends and family see their new Marines for the first time in more than 3 months.
We usually do it in our... Fuck, I forgot what they're called. Dress blues? Deltas or Charlies? I don't remember. It was a short sleeve. Yeah, these ones right here. I think we had 2 guys pass out in our formation as well.
Train day 70 and they graduate. They're no
You
longer
definitely feel it.
They're Marines.
had a little bit of spit come out of there. You really do feel it though as soon as you finish with it. You can tell. Look at all these sleeves. They look like shit.
Brand new recruits diligently square away their racks before being warmly welcomed by their senior drill instructor.
You can really tell by the sleeves just how new they are. Hold on. One sec. You see these 3 ribbons right here? This one's a good cookie, which is essentially you had 3 years where you didn't do anything to get yourself in trouble. You have a little ketchup here, National Defense ribbon. Essentially, you get that in boot camp, and you get this one here. I always forget what it's called, but it's the one you've been in the fleet for 30 days. And he's a sergeant. I had 7 when I was in Lance, and then I ended up getting out as a corporal in the last week. Just a little perspective to kind of show you what kind of MOS he had. Although I'm not trying to dog on the guy. That doesn't happen. All right, let's go ahead talk a little bit. So I realized obviously there's a lot more stuff that I knew that were already different, but we didn't really see that in the video. And I understand it's only like a 15-minute one, but they showed some similarities. They showed a lot of yelling. They showed a little bit of yelling on the range, which really didn't happen on the West Coast because they wanted to make sure that we were all calm, relaxed, and all that. And I feel like they actually did a decent job on showing like kind of the yelling that goes into it, the constant like, hey, if you like with the one dude's like, hey, if you fell, get out of here. Don't try to be like in a movie where they say, oh, we want to try one more time. No, you're done. As soon as it says you're done, you're done. Yeah, you definitely had a lot of people getting slayed, both sides. You're gonna get slayed on the quarterdeck. They didn't really show that here, but they showed in the that they were outside doing that. It definitely looked a lot more humid, a lot more muggy, more mud. We had mainly sand, and yeah, all female as far as female Marines go. They were always on Parris Island, regardless of where they were in the States. And I was actually surprised that they're only 8% in the Marine Corps. I thought it was a lot higher. But yeah, and because of that, you're not going to really see female DIs at all in the West Coast one. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I didn't really see, obviously, is probably for camera reasons. I'm sure they do it off camera, but they usually make a lot of remarks that are pretty funny. So sometimes it's hard to keep your, I guess, cool or like not try to laugh during these moments, especially with the way their voice ends up sounding. It sounds like kind of like a frog, if that makes sense. But essentially, it was kind of similar. It was more like the environment and some things like the RCOs. Like we always had an RCO on a rifle, and we only ever used rubber rifles when we were doing some optical courses. But other than that, we always had an RCO. I mean, for the most part, though, it was pretty similar. Maybe little key differences here and there, but go ahead and leave a like on this video if you liked it. Go ahead and leave a dislike if you didn't like it. Comment. It really helps me improve the channel. I'm gonna leave a link to the original video in the description down below. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a little card thingy up here. I don't know if it's popping up right now. And you can go ahead and see me reacting to the Air Force basic training, or BMT, I believe it's called. Until then, I'll see you in the next reaction.